All right, well, this lesson today is going to really just apply what we learned in the lesson on understanding how to create major key chord progressions. That lesson wasn't a video lesson, it was just a PDF download that you can get at guitarlessons365.com, which if you've got that down, then you'll understand how to figure out all the basic triads that work in a key. By triads, we mean just the major and minor and diminished chords that work in a major key, and you know how people use those 7 chords to create a chord progression within that key. So we're just going to go through a couple of basic chord progressions just so you can see how to apply this to the guitar neck. It's pretty simple. All you're going to need to know is the material from the major key chord progression download, and take a look at your cage sequence major and minor chords that is also available on the site for free. So what I'm going to do here is we're just going to stay in one area of the neck, and we're just going to pick a key, and we're going to just come up with a chord progression, just a numeric sequence of the chord progression, and then we're going to see if we can stay within one area of the neck and play all those chords. And with our cage sequence knowledge of all of our chords, we should be able to do that, and we should be able to quickly figure out all the chords that we need in a particular key from the PDF download. So let's take a look at, let's say we're going to stay around the 5th fret area, and say we were in the key of A major, and we wanted to do a chord progression that was a 1-4-5 chord progression. Now, a 1-4-5 chord progression in A major, if you remember, the first chord in A major is A major. And then we need the 4 chord, because that's where the 1, the 4, the 5 comes in. The 4 chord just means what's the 4th chord in A major, and that's going to be a D major chord. And then the 5th chord is going to be an E major chord. So a 1-4-5 chord progression in A is an A major to a D major to an E major. And we should be able to locate all those by using our chord forms. And you just try to do, it's a little exercise in trying to, you're working on your chord progressions, but you're also working on your chord knowledge. Try not to move very much from this just general area, this like 4 fret span. You will a little bit, but. So we're going to start here. Remember, you need to do this cage sequence, you need to know your root notes on the 4th, 5th, and 6th string. You need to be able to know where all your notes are at. If you don't know that, there's a tutorial on the site about knowing the notes on the fretboard. All you need to do is find your first available A on these 3 strings. And we have, around here, of course, it's at the 5th fret on the 6th string. And we're going to play that. So we know the 5th fret, a 6th string root note, we have 2 chord forms that in the cage sequence that can be played off that note, the form G and the form A. But of course, we're not going to do form G because that makes us come way back here. So form E, right here, off the 5th fret, that gives us the 1 chord. And then we're going to go to the closest D that we can find, remember, because we need a D major chord. Well, that is basically just over 1 string, same fret, but a 5th string. That's a 5th string root note chord. We have 2 chords in the cage sequence that we can use off that 5th string root note. Form C uses the 5th string root note, but of course we have to move away to use that one because it's the pinky playing it. And Form A does as well, which is right where we need. So we're going to use the Form A chord right off that D root note. So we have A major to D major. And then we want E major. We have an E right here, 2 frets up from the D. We could take the same chord shape and move up 2 frets, because if that's we can use Form A right there, or we can actually move less and just put our pinky on that E and use the Form C chord form, which also uses that same root note, and we don't have to move way up here. We can just stay right here. So we have and there's your first chord progression. You can just loop that, and you can play that any way you want. Just like that. That is the most common chord progression in music. The 1-4-5. Let's try a different chord progression. We'll keep it into the key of A major, but we'll do a 1-6-2-5, which means we need the first chord in the key, the sixth chord in the key, the second chord in the key, and the fifth chord in the key. And we would just loop those back around over and over again. Well, we know the one chord is going to be A major. The sixth chord in A major is an F sharp minor chord. The 2 chord is going to be a B minor chord. And then the 5 chord is going to be an E major once again. So we have our 1 chord of A major, and we need to find a close F sharp here because we need to go to F sharp minor chord. Well, the closest one we're going to find right now is actually on the 1 fret back, but on the 4th string. There's your root note. And we know it's a minor chord form, so we need to use our minor caged forms. And we know there's only one chord form that uses a 4th string root note, and that's the form Ds. So there's the minor chord form off that one. So we have the A major to the 6th chord. And then we go from there, we go to the 2 chord, which is going to be a B minor chord. And we have a B right here on the 6th string, and we can use that form G. It's a kind of a more difficult chord, but we can use the form G chord right there. Form G minor off that B minor chord. So we have, and then we end up with that E again. That's the 5 chord. So we have a 1, 6, 2, 5. Now, you don't have to use these chord voicings. You can use whatever chord voicing you want, anywhere you want. You can sit there and take it all, just 1, 6. I'm using the form E minor back here on this low F sharp. And then you can go way up here, 2, even up here, 5. You can keep it, it's really up to you. But you want to be able to stay in one area. You also want to be able to move around. So you want to experiment, because every one of those voicings, every single time, like that F sharp when I did this, when I went to this 6th chord. Well, and that might not be a voicing of that chord I want to use right now. It's too thin, doesn't use enough strings or whatever. Well, I can, with your chord knowledge, you should be able to move that. So you can say, okay, I like that first A major, but I want to try, instead of form D, maybe I want the chord form right before that, which is form E, off the F sharp on the 6th string. We got form E is a 6th string root note. Play the minor shape off that one. Or instead of D, maybe I want to play form C, and I'll play the minor string root note off of that. Or form A. So the options are there for you. What you just want to be able to do is take your knowledge of these, figuring out all the chords in a key now, and use your knowledge of your caged sequence chords and just put them together. That's all it is. It's a very simple process, and then you'll start livening up. Now, most keys, a lot of songs, they change keys during the chord progression, so I don't want you to be fooled when you see, oh, this song's supposed to be an E, and then they just throw some funky thing in there. That happens constantly in music to keep it more interesting. We'll just have to analyze that when we get there, okay? So I hope you have fun with this. Please go to the site and support it, and let me know what you think about this lesson and any other theory lessons or guitar lessons you'd like to see. All right, I appreciate it. Bye-bye.